Monism is the view that there is one fundamental substance. Thales raised this issue, but once you raise the idea of monism, other areas emerge, like Heraclitus and Parmenides engaging or grappling over the idea of cosmology. Heraclitus clearly see the need for cosmological explanation. Parmenides, an anti-cosmologist, believing that there is no change ultimately. And Heraclitus is the philosopher of change, and Parmenides is the philosopher of no change at the fundamental level. Well, at all levels for Parmenides. Wow. I just saw something here. Heraclitus is the philosopher of change, and on all levels. And Parmenides is the philosopher of no change on all levels, or both levels. Empedocles and Anaxagoras embrace the idea of change and no change and create bizarre explanations, bizarre theories, you may say, in certain senses, trying to keep the inside of both. They see change in the world and they see no change. And they try to put that together, create unique theories. Empedocles, for his part, embraces almost in total the idea that Parmenides present, the idea there's absolutely nothing outside the one, which is depicted in the oval here. But then he realized there are some challenges, all right? If you observe a car driving on the road and you claim that it's an illusion because ultimate reality doesn't change, Empedocles respond is like, what are you talking about? Because outside the one, there's absolutely nothing. So if you observe something, you couldn't observe it from the nothing. It had to come from the something, which is the one. All right. And so the change you're observing must be real. If the one is real, that which emerges from the one must be real. So we need to explain the cosmological nature of change. We need to explain this. So Empedocles does this by deploying the concept of love and strife. He looked at the world and saw that certain things are pulled together and other things are pulled apart, right? So he postulated there's a cosmological force called love and that pulls things together and strife that pulls things apart. And this theory may seem bizarre, but however, modern day science still only have two cosmological forces. There is the force of gravity, which pulls things together. So his notion of love closely resembles that of gravity, something that pulls things together. You may pick up your phone and look at it and say, there's no gravity here, but not according to science. Those particles are being pulled together. Even though they can't quite explain quantum gravity, what's happening down there, but those particles, those protons should be pushed apart. There should be an explosion there, but yet they stay together, and that's why you can hold that phone. So gravity, in that sense, is part of every physical thing that you see. And this man empirically saw that. Then the strife, okay? In science, the second cosmological force is called the electromagnetic force, electricity, magnetism, and that is strife, okay? And so you can see he may be way in the ancient world, he's making this claim based on his observation, but he's so intellectual that what he grabs in reality is embraced in science, and we're using different kind of names nowadays, right? So he sees this and he says, look, there is a stuff there which beyond what I can see, and I bet you it's the force of love that keeps it together at the beginning. Love keeps all the stuff together, all right? And then strife, when that occurs, love is maximized, is pulled, and strife is outside trying to find a way in. Eventually, it finds a way in. It opens up the stuff, the material, like clay. It breaks it open, like an egg, opened it up. And when you open up, what emerges from the egg originally is what? The four roots, the natural elements, the building block of everything else. And then he argued that love and strife now are more equal. They begin to battle or churn the machinery, churn these four roots together to produce everything we observe. And this occurs through random combination. This is still mechanical and very much scientific at this point. Very mechanical, by random combination, everything else we observe. So he provided an explanation for change. He provided an explanation of how things are, but he used the word random combination. This puzzles some scholars because we know Empedocles to be a mystic. He believed in the transmigration of the soul. He believed himself to be descendant of the gods. So why would he use random combination, which is a scientific notion today? This is basic scientific biology in the simplest form. All right, in the simplest form, random combination life emerged over time. Okay, this is what's happening. If you put gravity, electromagnetic force, that's basic science, right? I would say he used random combination because he's doing true philosophy. Everything when presenting your philosophy, you need to be able to argue for it. He couldn't argue for divine force at that time, his immortality. So he couldn't argue for that. So therefore, he put the next best thing. Since he does observe the change, and there is one thing there, it must be a random combination. It makes a lot of sense to me. But there's more bizarre things here. This cosmic thing is cycling back and forth, back and forth. So he thinks that strife pulls everything apart, and at that moment, everything dies, and it goes back to nothing there. And love is waiting for an opponent to collapse the stuff. And when love collapses it back, it brings everything back together again. And during that time, life begins to interplay again, all the way until everything is pushed back inside that one point of singularity. Okay? This is the cosmic cycle. In and out, in and out. In the first version, it resembles the theory of the Big Bang, in that everything explodes, goes forward, there's life, and everything dies. All right. The Big Bang has an alternate theory by most of the same author, most of the same scientists who created the theory of the Big Bang. And they say some of the data suggests that eventually this thing will collapse on itself. Again, Empedocles theory closely resembles what's going on in science right now. Here's the bizarre part of this theory I need to mention. Because things are coming in cycle, when the natural elements first emerged, they were already there as a logical possibilities. So the natural elements are eternal and unchanging. You're always going to get the four natural elements, all right? And maybe the fifth element if you look at space as well, right? But natural kind, the tiger emerged from the random combination. In the future, the tiger can emerge again. So the tigers are eternal and unchanging. So everything we observe in nature, which is natural, everything we observe actually, all right, becomes eternally unchanging. You are eternally unchanging in the sense that you emerge through random combination through the movement of love and strife. In the future, after you die, you can emerge again. Now, this is not a theory of the immortality soul. This is not reincarnation. This is about your body. This is pure biology. Your body that you have right now, male, female, black, white, Asian, your feature, the height, everything you have biology right now emerged from random combination. In the future, it can do it again. It may seem bizarre, but it is still part of science. Because remember, what makes you who you are your genetic makeup. So if I can create that, get your genome and put it together, I can make another replica of you, you know. That's what we're doing right now. We're looking at cloning and things like that. So therefore, we have this bizarre way of looking at reality. When the horse came out, then it was already somehow a possibility. Then is it really random? I mean, random is when it occurs, but itself was always a possibility. So let's move on, okay? But I want you to feel the bizarreness of eternality of natural kinds here, okay? Because it keeps Parmenides' insight that somehow I may not have seen a giraffe until I went to the zoo, but the giraffe was always part of reality, whether I saw it or not. Similarly, since the time of the Big Bang, the giraffe was logically possible. If the giraffe was not logically possible, it would not be in nature, nor would it be at the zoo. So giraffes are eternal and unchanging as an absolute part of reality or possible part of reality. This seems more and more bizarre the way you think about it. Anaxagoras come forward, all right, not battling Empedocles, but having a new way to embrace Heraclitus and Parmenides. There is the overrepresented belief in monism. But now the world is somewhat more complex. The cosmological force that gives order is called the nous, or universal mind. It's called nous, universal mind. And the building blocks are the seeds. The many said the seeds controversy already began. But let me continue with the first representation, then look at the controversy. He believed that the nous, the universal mind, affects the seeds in such a way that it produces from the seeds the natural elements and even the natural kinds. Scholars look at this and say, this nous, universal mind, is really a concept of a God, because the nous is selecting which seed is going to become the mango tree, which seed is going to become air, which seed is going to become an elephant. So that's like making a choice. That's the concept of a God. These scholars, they are raised in a world where there are many gods and many goddesses, but when they create their theory, they're not directly appealing to gods, except for this one appears to be a god. It's not a full god. He doesn't say go worship anything like that, but the way this force works is a godlike force. It's not a Christian concept of God. Would it be a Christian concept of God? Not really, not with the notion of seeds. It wouldn't be a Christian concept of God, all right? But it does seem to be that way. We're going to treat it as a cosmological force in an attempt to get order, okay, using a universal mind. It's not like the logos of Heraclitus, because the logos and the substance are one. Here he calls it separation. He writes, the seeds are everywhere, but they're not in nous. When he calls it separation, scholars look at this like, wait, isn't that like an axiom theory of air? Aren't you being pluralistic right now? There are two type things out there, the nous and the seeds. There's two type of things. In addition to that, you're saying seeds, which is many, okay? As a minimum, back then, they're not using the concept of complex pluralism. This can't be complex monism here. Why is that? Because you have the nous, which is separate things, and you have the seed, which are many things. So this looked like a real pluralistic theory. But at the time, the scholars were really trying to push in a monistic theory, and Anaxagoras were trying to get to a monistic theory as well. But he apparently liked Anaximenes' theory of air. So the way he described the seeds was not the way we describe particles today in particle physics. He described them as what? Agricultural seeds. If you put a mango seed, you cultivate it, you get a whole mango tree over time. So you could look at the mango seed today and say there's a whole tree inside the seed, being poetic, but you could talk like that. And this is what he's seeing. Every seed is agricultural in nature. So that at the deepest reality, these seeds contain the whole mango tree, the whole cat, the whole dog, and you come from a seed. Things can't emerge from the seed because the reality is like an agricultural system, okay? That these seeds are there. So you come from a seed, I come from a seed, but potentially my seed can become anything. It can become anything there is, all right? Now, this may even seem bizarre in many ways, but it's not completely bizarre when you look at the biological world. Okay, nowadays we call it stem cells. Okay, there's a belief that this magical things called stem cells, if you cultivate them the right way, many people believe in this. Many people believe that you could cultivate these cells to become any organ that you want. That will be exactly what he's looking at, and exactly was looking at. He's not wrong in this regard. Okay, he's not wrong in this regard, in the sense that it's already a phenomenon on our level. So why not possibly it goes deeper and deeper and deeper? This is what he's doing. If you believe that, you come to his conclusion that everything contains a bit of everything else. If you own a cat and a dog, at the deepest level, they made of seed, which is like the stem cell of the universe. And if the nous can make that seed into a cat, that nous can make that seed into a giraffe, because the exact same seed would come from the same source, basically. And with that, he gets to the idea that we are one. Okay, you and I, for example, are one because we are made of the same material. So we are potentially could be one. You could look like me and I could look like you. You are a woman now, but you could become a man. I'm a man, I could become a woman. If this nous decided to make my fundamental seed, my stem cell seeds become what it is, right? Another area you see this working, okay, when you believe in cloning. In cloning, they say every one of your cells contain the information for everything else. Remember, you don't have hard science. These are your first kind of scientists these days, and they're just speculating using logical reasoning, which means they are geniuses, because we can talk about this today and make sense. We have all kind of instruments, all kind of data and things like that, but they don't have any of that. But their truth closely resemble we believe right now. Your cells contain all the information. If you take the right cell, cultivate the right way. I'm not an expert in this, but you can clone, you can clone things. They clone sheep, they clone dogs. We don't know legally if anyone cloned a human, but it's a possibility. Think of another area, plants. Plants are just like that. If you take a little branch, put it in the right water, in the right condition, you can grow a whole tree from it. So there's a lot of experiences that we have confirm something like that is going on. We know that to be true biologically, but is it occurring in the areas where things are not living? Like, for example, the stars, the moon, and the stellar bodies. We don't know, but he's postulating that. Since it's a possibility, it's still an open question. It's still an open question to be discussed, to be looked at. So for Empedocles, for Anaxagoras, I should say, this idea that monism is there, okay? I'm going to classify as a monist because that's what he's trying, all right? So for him, when he's looking at the world, all right, and he had this complex theory of the world, some scholars think it's a pluralistic theory. I classify it as a failed monistic theory, all right? I see what you're trying to do, the way you define the seeds. You want to get monism by saying that we are one. And he can't say we are one. He can't say we are one. In philosophy, you can postulate whatever you like, including the existence of God, to explain your theories. But when we get down to the detail, first you present your theory, we look at what kind of argument you have for the existence of your God. In this case, the nous is a superior mind, and we can see why he's appealing to it. He sees so much order in the world. He's appealing to a cosmological force to explain that order. There's something out there causing that. That can be true, but what is it? We don't know. Okay, what is it? We don't know. He just calls it the nous. So we can take it as a possible answer until you get a better answer. Until you get a better answer. Remember, Empedocles said it's all randomness, all right? If you use the randomness, not Empedocles, yes, Empedocles said it was randomness. It randomly becomes ordered. It's the cosmological force of love and strife just automatically randomly make it the case, which is what science want to appeal to nowadays. They think it's all randomness, right? And that position also has its own problems. So I am now complete. We are complete in our discussion of the monist. I highly recommend you go to the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy and take a look. And look up all of these philosophers and read a little bit about their lives and a little bit of their theories. But I have summarized the essence of their theories that's useful nowadays when you think about metaphysics in general. So, but take a look at a little bit of their lives and some more of their theories. I didn't go in much detail their theories here. I'm highlighting the biggest ideas that they have shared with us.